Every now and again I pick up a book for one of the games I play, basically for completion purposes. Most times these books are okay, and there was a reason why I'd not picked them up sooner. Yet every now and again one of these turns out to be a real diamond in the rough, and Cyphers and Masks is just such a book. I never expected it to be bad in any serious way. I just didn't think it would be terribly useful in the RPG. I did though think the subject matter made perfect sense for the Age of Rebellion game. Spies and hackers would be almost more essential than soldiers to the rebellion in a way, especially in its formative years. And in some ways this is one of the best books they have produced for the game. The cover features a very cool looking rebel agent with protected computer banks behind him, and is a very typical red for all the Age of Rebellion books. They have colour coded the cores, which is fine. The one area that stands as strange in this regard is all the non-core guides. These are designated for the most part to be used in any of the cores, but they are coloured black, same as Force and Destiny. That's not a big deal in any way, it's just merely a curiosity. It opens with an overview of the book. While these are somewhat redundant, it is only one page, and it does outline the idea that the rebels can't beat the Empire in a straight-out total war. They must be selective and very careful how and where they deploy agents and forces. To that end, information is a massive and vital component. This splash page does a decent job of getting that idea across from the beginning. Tradecraft in Star Wars is an excellent section. Each of the sections within it are not huge, but they convey the right information. It's good for both player and GM. General overview of the rise of the Empire, a small section each for the core worlds, mid-rim and outer rim. Each has its own issues and rewards. In many ways it is safer to hack and spy from the outer rim, but the Empire's real secrets cannot be found there. The core worlds is where the real secrets hide, but it's also the most dangerous to operate in, with the tightest security including stormtroopers. Spies of the Rebellion is all about the classes. These include Courier, Infiltrator, Interrogator, Scout, Sleeper Agent and Slicer. It is not very in-depth, but it gives a good enough primer to get players or GMs thinking about the classes in the game. The first real big section is Operating from the Shadows. It talks about the Shadow War and a tiny bit on how the Empire is also operating in the shadows to try and counter the rebels. The spy backgrounds are Freerunner, Law Enforcement Agent, Makeup Artist, Performer, Psychologist and Repo Specialist. What I've always liked about these sections in all the books is that they give ideas for these backgrounds and how they fit for all classes. Players and GMs who are imaginative can and often will come up with their own backgrounds, but these can jumpstart a player who might be struggling to think something up during character creation. There is a page on duties that a spy might be doing as part of a cell, and a full page table which can be randomly rolled on. There are a total of 12 different duties. The three new races are the Balasar, Melito, and the Kubaz. I believe Bothans are already in the RPG, but they are a particularly troublesome race to use. The problem with Bothans is they are known to be good spies. The Empire knows this as well. They are not stupid and would target Bothans at every opportunity. Unless there is a way the race is being used that is making such a course of action difficult, but I don't think they have done so. It was suggested they were not a race, but possibly an organisation instead, and boy was there a crap show over that. I don't know what the solution is here, but they don't work as described. They don't have to be just spies, they could be anything. But they are known as spies, and that's the problem. I like all the new races, but the Kubaz is the most fun I think. All the way back to A New Hope and Longsnot the Imperial Informer. Cool to see the Kubaz now included. The new specialisations are the Courier, Interrogator and Sleeper Agent. There is a bunch of new talents, and I have no idea where they all fit in now. There is no easy way to track these things. Spy Motivations is a good single page, and it's a nice bump to get players thinking about why they might do something as dangerous as spying for the Rebellion. There are two signature abilities, Unmatched Tradecraft and Counter-Espionage. I find Counter-Espionage the more fun, but that could be just me. Tools of the Trade adds more gear, and some of it this time actually makes sense for spies and hackers. New weapons and armour, chemicals and poisons, including a false tooth filled with poison. I can't wait to see a player volunteer to have that. There are some cybernetics, electronics, tools, droids, including the RA-7, which used to be called the Death Star droid in the toys. New gear attachments, a single land speeder, one very cool starship, and starship attachments. There is a few things this time around. The Hidden War is all about integrating spies into the game. How can they be useful? How can they be used? How can they be involved? As leaders or independent? This section has an area I think is brilliant and very useful. One of the biggest things is players not sure how to spend their advantages, disadvantages. This section has a page of ideas for spending all of those related to computer checks, another for deception checks, skullduggery checks, and lastly 1 page for stealth. These really are brilliant, simple, direct to the point, but give players and GMs solid ideas on how to use those results in meaningful and accurate ways. It's such a good idea. Counterintelligence discusses the Empire objectives and actions for both finding and stopping rebel activity. There is a section on concealing gear, how to beat scanners, and making hidden compartments. There is a good section on slicing encounters, and then they added the result tables for slicing encounters. There is the usual story primers, which are to me always the weakest part of the books, and it ends with how to reward spies. Overall, I can't complain. There is a lot of stuff in its pages, a lot of things that were genuinely interesting or useful, and all in a book that I thought was going to be more filler than anything else. Excellent source book for Age of Rebellion.